So I wanted to take just a quick minute today and introduce you to one of my favorite planes of all time, the 1875mm B-17 Flying Fortress by HobbyKing. Now, I'm not sponsored by HobbyKing, so when I say this is one of my favorite planes, I mean it. Unfortunately, when we went flying this past week, there was a little mishap. Let's just say, maybe you shouldn't let your friends fly your favorite plane? Anyway, so rather than introducing you to the plane and all of her many, many qualities, we're going to show you how I fixed her time and time again. All right, so starting with a stem to stern on the damage of this plane, we're going to start here with the nose glazing. Honestly, HobbyKing, this is probably one of the biggest weaknesses of this plane. If you see this, at this point, mine is almost more packing tape than the original plastic. This gets ejected, damaged in pretty much every crash, or hard landing even. This plane has an unfortunate tendency to nose over if you try to accelerate too slowly and hit a rock or something. It's just a little bit nose heavy on takeoff, probably because the landing gear needs to be swept forward, you know, what, 10 degrees. But yeah, so that's what we've got going on with the nose glazing. Moving on back, here we've got the cockpit. This piece is virtually indestructible. My plane's been through a minimum 8 crashes, and this is still completely unscuffed. I've never replaced it. All right, so looking at the fuselage itself, we can see here that the nose has split out. Here we've got a couple of prop strikes. I've gotten that in at least half of the crashes she's been in. We've got this. This is fine. This is a piece that I'd cut out myself to allow for a bomb bay inside. But the back here is starting to split out. Windows are ejecting. You can see all along here the windows are pretty much gone just because they pop out on a crash. You can never find them again.
Explain the stitching.
I'll get there.
Because I'm going to people will be wondering right now.
And then down here we've got a breakout in here. This is, again, this is a weakening point I put in to allow for a bomb bay. I've never had that actually break on me before, but that'll be an easy fix. So one of the things I do to secure my repairs as they're going through is I put these staples in. I kind of like the character it gives, just because it gives that kind of Frankenstein-y look. And it does a great job of holding the foam together while glue dries, so I love that. You're going to notice this big hole up here. That's deliberate. That's for a rotating 3D printed turret that I'm working on. We'll link in the Thingiverse files for these, but that just kind of drops right in here once it's fully assembled. And that's going to allow for an FPV camera here in the turret to sit there and rotate. It's going to be really cool. All right, so here's what's left of the tail. Just kind of going over here. I removed the ball turret on purpose. That's for a modification I'm working on. Yeah. Again, it's the FPV stuff. Gonna have a camera down in there, but that's awesome. All right, so coming back here, tail wheel's still good. I broke this in a previous crash. Looks like our elevator's still decent. Stabilizer's good. Yeah, I don't think we have anything to worry about past this one initial crack here. Now, if you look at this, you'll see that we got these little plastic discs here, but not on this side. That's because this is still stuck to the wing. I think that's probably why it breaks here so often. But it kind of turns this into a crumple zone for this plane, which I think I appreciate, because I always know that this is the spot I'm going to be fixing anytime this plane crashes. So, all right, let's go ahead and wrap up with the tail here, and let's get the wing brought in. All right, so we got these nacelles that have broken off. Again, this is just due to the nature of the plane. This tends to happen in bad crashes. These cowlings, like the nose glazing, they take a beating. They've got a lot of tape on them. I've even resorted to 3D printing one. This uses the C-Duct cowl that the flight test guys put up. Does a pretty good size at 110% of the base file. So going from this side over here, there we go. We got a little bit of curling here. Not much I can do about that, but it's not going to affect too very much. Some dings along the edge. Again, that's not something I'm going to worry about. Now, here's something we've got to worry about though. So, in multiple previous crashes, my plane broke right along this seam. So I went through, cut it open, put in a carbon rod to fix it. Well, it looks like we've got a crack. I can't tell if that's a new one. That's definitely a new one. So that's going to need to be fixed up. That should be pretty easy. It's trying to fall off the table on me. We've got a bullet plug here that looks like has popped off. Yeah, there we go. So we'll need to be fixing that. Coming in here, I embedded my receiver in the wing just because that was the easiest thing to do. I've got a crack here. So that's going to be a fix. Here's my fancy bomb bays, complete with retracts to power them. Oh yes, and reinforcement. The version 1 of this plane had no reinforcement through here. It was just a glue joint with the foam. The version 2 now has 2 aluminum rods. I can't tell how far into the plane they go, but there's 2 points in here that those are connected on. So definitely a step up on that one, step in the right direction. Moving this way, let's check these out. Looks like we might have a little bit of wiggle on this nacelle. And the rest of the wing's looking pretty good. A little hanger rash, but none the worse for wear. Flip her over. Take a peek here. I'm not seeing anything else that I'm really worried about. I'm sure we'll find stuff as we go along, but all right. I think that's going to be what we're fixing. We're going to go ahead and go into time lapse now as we actually make the repairs, and we'll see you on the other side. So, non-sponsor shout out. We've got these Master Air Screw 3-blade props. These are the 9x7s. I tell you, these things are virtually invincible. I've been running Master Air Screws for 3-4 years now. They're one of the most durable propellers I've seen. The thing you gotta understand is this plane has been through 3 major wrecks since I put these props on. Not one of them has broken. So to have this kind of damage and the propeller is still intact, that's impressive in my book. So, all right, now we'll go to the time lapse. there you go. Took us about an hour, maybe 2, to get her totally up and running again. This plane will fly next time we go out. You know, it's a beautiful thing about the B-17. These things historically would take a beating and still return home. Getting their crews home safe. I mean, that's what it's all about. It's interesting. We go out to the field. Some of the old timers out there, they're looking at this, they're looking at the battle damage, and they're just amazed at how true to life this plane is out there flying. Other people think it's flying trash. Personally, I think she's beautiful. Until next time.